Hello and welcome to a new camera comparison. It's still Carnival time here, and this time around I will do something different in terms of this comparison. The Xperia 1 Mark IV against the Galaxy S23 Ultra. I will just go to the Carnival parade that is happening in my district here right now, and I will take some of the photos, there are probably also some videos that I will show you directly. If you want to know a bit about the specs, you can just read on GSM Arena and so on. So I want to keep it a bit shorter than the last kinds of videos, and mainly we'll focus on photography, probably not so much on videography. And because it's a parade that I want to photograph, of course the telezoom lenses will come in handy here. So let's check them out and let's get started. So here are the photos on the left, the S23 Ultra on the right, the Xperia 1 Mark IV. And yeah, I tried to take side-by-sides, but it did not always work. But what we can see here on first glance with the telezoom lens is the difference: 3 times versus 3.5 times. You get a bit closer with the 1 Mark IV natively by default. The 1 Mark IV can also go to 5.2 times, which is even further. But what you can see here is much more punchy colors on the S23 Ultra, where we have, like here, this woman with her costume, and you can see the blue on the 1 Mark IV is less punchy, less blue as the one on the S23 Ultra. When it comes to detail levels and so on, we can see a little bit more noise on the 1 Mark IV, I think, creeping in. It's a bit softer towards the edges, I would say, but overall I think there's a bit more detail on the face of the woman here. And also the rest of the details here of people standing there, like for example this guy here, you can see the little bit noise also on the S23 Ultra, but a lot softer on the 1 Mark IV. And let's go to another one that I managed also miraculously to take a side-by-side on. Here you can clearly see with the balloons here that of course we have much more punchy colors on the S23 Ultra. But what I was shocked about is really the green that is like totally wrong on the S23 Ultra, because it's so punchy and so wrong. Because yes, what the 1 Mark IV was taken here is really the real green. What we can also see is both have a bit of noise going on. It was a bit of a cloudy day, so yes, they have noise here. And in terms of detail levels and so on, I think both fine. But we always have this like sharpened up image on the S23 Ultra and a bit of softer image on the 1 Mark IV, just like a haze going on something like this. When people are walking by, passing by, throwing stuff and so on, you can see here this guy throwing popcorn in this case, because in the Carnival parade we are throwing sweets, little candies, chocolate bars, everything that cannot hurt kids really, but that they can catch and then bring back home and make the dentist happy by eating them. But you can see that the Xperia 1 Mark IV has a very nice feature, is the face detection, but also the Galaxy S23 Ultra sometimes had the face detection detecting stuff. You can see here this woman and yeah, bit of noise going on again on her face. On the 1 Mark IV, however, you can see this softness going on here on this face of this guy that is a security guard here, so that kids will not run too close to the trucks. Here we can see the wheels that they have. It might be dangerous. So here again, also very, very punchy colors. You can see the Köln flag, and this woman here, and here you can see also the red here is a different one, because yes, this is really her red hair here. And this is the correct red, what I saw with my own eyes, and this is like overdoing it simply on the S23 Ultra. So keep that in mind in terms of colors. Otherwise, yeah, you have some hit or miss. The 10 times zoom on the S23 Ultra is very spectacular, because you can get very, very close, as you can see here, to people, but it's getting softer as well, as you can see. And the 1 Mark IV, yeah, I'm not sure if it detected the eye here. This is, I think, beyond 5.2 times even. But what we have here is an interesting effect where we can see the depth effect, where I have, maybe you can see it somewhere else here. I think we can see even more. Let's go to this one, where you can see like we have this depth effect, where here this one maybe slightly out of focus, but the rest is in focus, as you can see here. And here we have more stuff not in focus, and here perfectly focused, nailed on this woman and her costume. So yeah, these are the big differences. And yeah, otherwise most of the time I used the 3.5 times on the 1 Mark IV. Occasionally here I think I went to the 5.2 times. You can see it is from the softness level almost the same. I think the details are very nice to read here still. And I think the colors, I like the colors. And if you compare it maybe, and I can of course catch people, and because of the very good burst mode and autofocus on the 1 Mark IV, I can get a little bit more shots out than on the S23 Ultra, that especially in zoom mode has a little bit of a shutter lag here and there, and I had to get rid of some photos. Again, the colors I think are the major difference here, and here we can see also the depth effect again. Here 3.5 versus 3 times zoom, and you can clearly see first of all the colors and a bit of sharpening up, more artificial kind of faces here, a bit more natural but softer in general, so the faces are a bit softer as well, and you can see this slight glowing going on in the 1 Mark IV. But we have this depth effect again here. This guy is unsharp, here his head is more sharp. So yes, there is a bit of slight difference. I prefer the 1 Mark IV, to be honest, because it's like before at Karneval times I was using my DSLM for taking photos, and the 1 Mark IV reminds me a lot of this DSLM times. And also you will also notice that I took more shots with the 1 Mark IV simply because of the reason that it's just more fun to have a real shutter button, and you can have one hand free, and with the other hand you can grab the candies in your bag. So it is a bit easier then also to handle the 1 Mark IV than the S23 Ultra by default. But both doing a fine job in this situation with people passing by and costumes and nailing the focus and so on. You can clearly see it here. Again, I like the 1 Mark IV because it's also focusing on the eye of the kid here, for example, so it is getting this sharp, and this really fast burst rate. You don't have almost no processing going on there, so you can even catch people like dancing very quickly, even if you don't use the burst mode. And yeah, overall I like those photos a lot, and I have to say that here someone throwing a candy, or no, not a candy, even like I think there are also like some flowers that they give usually to women. Carnival train, it's called Carnival train in German, so the parade here. And yeah, those guys here that had those interesting costume here, you can see also in terms of sharpness going on, a bit of soft, and you can see that there's a bit of like HDR effect going wrong on the 1 Mark IV, but it's very hard to see on the Galaxy S23 Ultra. It's a bit better on the Galaxy S23 Ultra here for sure, but it also has this effect, so on fast moving subjects. But what is really disappointing somehow is the colors again, because the colors are simply too punchy and simply wrong. And yeah, you can get very close also with the Xperia 1 Mark IV, because it has this eye autofocus and so on, even with like 10 times zoom on the 1 Mark IV versus the 10 times zoom on the S23 Ultra. You can see faces are sharp, a bit closer on the 1 Mark IV in this case. It's a bit soft, but you can still work with it, and in general I think it's a very good shot on both. And here you can clearly see again, I think the difference here, when we can see in terms of colors, a bit of sharpness applied and so on. Noisy here, here a bit softer, not so much noise I think on the Xperia. If I take a look at this one, I think it didn't detect the face. But yeah, overall I think I like both very fine. I like the more reach that you get with the S23 Ultra. Just the colors are a bit off here, so I prefer the 1 Mark IV here, but you can tell me which one you like better overall, which one did better. And yeah, the 1 Mark IV just reminds me really of a DSLM, because I had a DSLM the years before, so 4 years actually before, when I was like still taking photos, because yeah, the Corona years, of course, there was no Carnival parade or festivities there. So yeah, and I like the zoom, I like this shot, I like the possibility to get very close to people and have this kind of natural kind of colors and natural kind of possibility to see someone. And yeah, you can see here, this is now a selfie with the S23 Ultra, and the 1 Mark IV I took a bit of other photos here as well. You can see they're not always 100% sharp, like this guy was moving a bit fast. And yeah, this is basically near the end, the kids here throwing some candies down, and you can see how big those, I think this was taken with the ultra wide angle if I'm not completely mistaken, on the 1 Mark IV. And yeah, another zoom shot, a lady throwing, I think, something down. And yeah, the last shot here is a selfie shot of me after the parade, and yeah, I have a gloomy face on the S23 Ultra because I saw the selfie, the first selfie that I took several ones, but this one is like, I'm not sure, it's the same dim lit situation here, and you can see how noisy it is, how grainy it is. On the 1 Mark IV, however, it is not as grainy. I'm not sure if they're using denoising algorithms, so first you can see my eyes are much more clearer, even though it doesn't have autofocus, but somehow the Xperia 1 Mark IV is doing a better job here, for whatever reason that is. It's a bit brighter on the S23 Ultra, so I'm not sure why it's so grainy on the S23 Ultra. Maybe they fixed it with another upgrade. This, by the way, is still using the January security patches, I think. So the February one that came much later than this one here. So yeah, these are my photos here. What do you think? You can write down in the comment section what do you think about those photos. Otherwise, maybe I will do a regular camera comparison between them as well, if you want to vote for them. Otherwise, I have now in my pipeline the test against the 12S Ultra, Xiaomi 12S Ultra against the S23 Ultra, and there's an S missing. Yeah, it's Karneval. That's it. So just a short one for videos as well. I just stopped one of the videos here. I think it's the same group, yes, now, and they have the same kind of things on, same clothes on, but you can see how much differently the color tone again is rendered on the S23 Ultra against the Xperia 1 Mark III. It's not only the bricks in the foreground, but look at the red costumes they have on, the red on the costumes that they have on. How much more orangey and punchy it is on the S23 Ultra in comparison to the Xperia 1 Mark III, 1 Mark IV in this case. Yes, the 1 Mark IV in this video for some reason has some focusing issues. You can see this is sharp, there's a bit unsharp for some reason. and now it's unsharp here, and then there sharp again. So there's something wrong with the with the focusing. But yeah, it's also a bit softer here, but it is more like true to what you can see or what you can get with the DSLR. Just the same with the photos. It is a bit, it's just the feeling when I'm looking at this, more realistic looking on the 1 Mark IV and more artificial looking on the S23 Ultra here, also with the colors and so on. Yes, sometimes you want a bit more punchy colors, especially for Karneval, but it's not always like it's not always what you would like expect in terms of fluidity and in terms of sound and so on. You be the judge and tell me which one you like better. Otherwise, that's it for this short little video. Hope you still enjoyed this, because I really put a lot of effort there. I think I maybe expected a bit better video coming out of here, but hopefully you are satisfied. And it's Carnival time, so Köller love, and until the next time, bye.